Good morning, afternoon or evening, ladies and gentlemen, all in crypto here, and welcome back, guys, on this smashing Sunday for what is going to be nothing short of another jam-packed daily market update. And as always, we have a hell of a lot to get into. We aren't going to be starting the video off with the markets. Instead, we're going to be starting the video off with some pretty huge news that has came out over the past 24 hours. We've got news from Standard Charter now giving us their Bitcoin price prediction for 2025. Also, we're going to be looking at Bitcoin in relation to elections, and we'll be looking at what Bitcoin's done historically post-election. And we've got election coming up very quickly. This aligns with the Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory, the global liquidity cycles, etc., etc., etc. We've really covered to death our reasoning for being long the markets, and we've of course backed that all up fundamentally and technically. So we will be looking at that. Then we're going to be talking about what I wanted to dive into yesterday, but we had such big news to cover from Friday in regards to the SEC now enabling or allowing Bitcoin options. We're going to be having someone on the show to talk to us a lot more about that in detail that comes from the world of finance in the week ahead. So do become a subscriber and stay tuned for that. But we also had news that European banks have now rolled out regulated crypto trading services for retail customers. This has just broke last week. A major announcement from DZ Bank just 8 hours ago. Obviously, this is a couple of days old now. In a huge step towards mass crypto adoption, DZ Bank will enable 700 banks to offer retail customers the ability to trade and store cryptocurrencies in licensed fiduciary custody. So this is pretty significant. I think DZ, is that not the largest bank in France, perhaps? We shall see. And then also, in the prior week, we had massive news that we didn't get a chance to cover yesterday in regards to the SEC and SARB 121, and they've essentially now enabled BNY Mellon an exemption from SARB 121, which really kind of constrained the industry. Now, of course, they would allow a bank that they're very friendly with first, and not, it's not a level playing field when it comes to these guys. And then we're going to be looking at the markets. Super excited to see how this week plays out. We got what we wanted on Wednesday. We got that 50 basis point rate cut. We know what this means more broadly. We're going to be looking at the Dixie. We'll be looking at Bitcoin breakouts across the board. Whether that's the US 100, which we looked at pre-FOMC or pre-cut announcement. S&P now off. Silver, Bitcoin. Wherever you will look, there's breakouts across the board. I mean, gold very much at that target that we had for it a year or so ago. It's going to be a great time for the markets, guys, and we want to make sure nobody misses out on that opportunity. And I think crypto is the strongest horse in this race. So let's get into it all, guys. First of all, we got news from Standard Charter. They're giving us their Bitcoin price prediction for 2025, and they are now saying that Bitcoin is likely going to hit $200,000. Now, we think it's likely going to go above and beyond that, and we've got a number of patterns that give us confidence in regards to Bitcoin's direction. We also looked at that short-term pattern. When we start to talk about breakouts, we'll get into it in a lot more detail in regards to Bitcoin and a pattern that's essentially taking you to 84K. It's well on the way to 130, 150, 309. So Standard Charter, I think they've just gone for a nice big round number there, haven't they? However, I think you are potentially going to see certainly 130, 151, potentially 200 and above Bitcoin price prediction, and options might have something to do with that in regards to 2025. Now, there's a number of cycles that overlap that we've used to give us confidence in regards to the direction of Bitcoin. And one of them is, of course, US election cycles. Now, this is from the Bitcoin magazine, and what it's showing here is previous elections that have taken place. And in the Bitcoin orange, you have, Bitcoin's prior price action in 2016 to 2017. Then you have 2020 to 2021, and then you have where we currently are today. History is very much likely to repeat. When you look at the Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory, there's an amazing time ahead of us. The election cycles dictate that. The Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory dictates that. The business cycles dictate that. The PMI cycles dictate that. The global liquidity cycles dictate that. The charts dictate that. Fundamentally, what's going on dictates that. We've got a great time ahead of us, ladies and gentlemen. The only thing that could, if we are to throw the bears a bone, potentially stifle all of this, is some sort of a black swan, which we do not envision. So get ready for a great end of 2024 into 2025. October very much shaping up. This is some news from Smokey. Good guy to follow, by the way, bringing some absolute alpha in regards to XRP. European banks rolling out regulated crypto trading services for retail customers right now. Major announcement from DZ Bank just 8 hours ago. This, of course, is not even 2 days old now. In a huge step towards mass adoption, DZ Bank will enable 700 banks to offer retail customers the ability to trade and store cryptocurrencies in licensed fiduciary custodies. Licensed fiduciary custody. This means retail investors will now have access to regulated institutions that securely and responsibly manage their crypto assets. These institutions are legally required to protect and safeguard digital assets using advanced security measures. And it all starts this year. This is a game-changing moment as it allows retail investors to benefit from institutional-level security and protection for their crypto assets. It's also a major step towards enabling retail customers to generate passive income safely with the backing of large financial institutions. This is mainstream crypto adoption. We're seeing more and more of this, ladies and gentlemen. This is a media release. This came out, obviously, on the 17th. This is from Stuttgart. And you can see, obviously, DZ Bank now offering, and essentially through them, 700 other banks going to offer cryptocurrency products. This is huge. We had news also, and we wanted to cover this yesterday. This is from the Meta Lawman, somebody that's been great to follow if you're interested in the XRP or the Ripple and SEC case. The high integrity move would have been for the SEC to withdraw SARB 121 after the votes in Congress to repeal it. The low integrity move would be for the SEC to grant exemption to certain well-connected big banks. Guess which one Gary Gensler chose? So SARB 121, in regards to banking legislation towards crypto, we've just covered some banking, most notably in Europe. This is obviously US specific. Got essentially voted down in Congress. Now, there was news that Biden was going to veto it or null and void the vote. However, that hasn't happened. And instead of the SEC just removing it so that all banks can now properly sort of account for crypto on their books, they've actually just only allowed BNY Mellon the ability to do this. BNY Mellon identified as first bank to receive SEC exemption from SARB 121 on Monday during a public hearing in Wyoming. BNY Mellon was named as a bank that received an exemption from the SEC's onerous rules for custodying digital assets, in what would be a huge breakthrough for banks looking to dive into institutional crypto custody businessing. BNY Mellon, America's largest custodian bank, was identified during a public testimony in Wyoming's Select Committee on Blockchain, Financial Technologies, and Digital Innovation Technologies as having received a variance from following the SEC SARB 121 accounting guidelines for its institutional custody and crypto business. As part of a broader federal update on Monday, Chris Land, General Counsel for U.S. Senator Cynthia Lummis, testified that the SEC and thus likely other regulators have cleared the way for BNY Mellon to provide institutional crypto or custody of digital assets. BNY Mellon is looking to get more involved in the crypto custody business. Land testified they had some problems with the staff accounting bulletin, SARB 121, and the SEC has apparently given them some kind of variance from SARB 121 to move forward. Land provides this update in the context of the potential impact of Wyoming's special purpose depository issuance bank charter held by the companies such as Custodia and Kraken. Crazy, right? Certainly when you sort of go and you say, okay, right, the SEC currently have a lawsuit against Binance, Coinbase, and Kraken. And is that all in the likes of BNY Mellon's favors or benefit? Potentially. But what we've shown there is two clear examples, one more in Europe with DZ Bank and the 700 banks that are around there, and also within the US, the largest custodian bank, all now moving into the cryptocurrency space. Mass adoption is coming, ladies and gentlemen. And the beautiful thing is, if you're interested in crypto right now, is it is not here yet. Let's talk about the charts and let's talk about the markets. I think we've got Fed speaking, we've got Powell speaking on Thursday. We'll probably live stream that for you guys. But in regards to technically, the stars really are aligned. You know, Bitcoin is very much going to be heading towards, in our opinion, 309k. That could be our max bull market target. You've got this broad sort of cup and handle, if you will. We looked at plenty of examples. Let's just do it very quickly in regards to charts being, this is where Bitcoin is This is where they were, and this is what's to come. And we've shown you so many examples of this. We've got higher targets for many of these that we think are going to get met after our smaller targets. Just like, this is like predicting 151k Bitcoin. We did the same thing for the DAX, and of course the target was met. And you can see what a key level this has been. You've consolidated in and around it. We don't miss gold, very nearly our target predicted in 2023, sort of the start of 2023, and we started to get back into the markets. There's a great time really ahead for markets. I think MicroStrategy is going to look to rear its head this week. We've spoken about the big patterns for Bitcoin. We also had a smaller one. Remember, this is in your sort of channel for Bitcoin here. Drawing this very sort of roughly. That ultimately is going to see you clear new all-time highs. This is coming. This was all signaled by the Fed. The Fed obviously lowered interest rates for the first time since 2019. We've got macro patterns for Bitcoin upside, macro patterns for dollar downside. There's been an element of dollar weakness in every single Bitcoin bull market. And there's even smaller patterns that are pointing in this direction, just like we have for Bitcoin. So it's going to be a very interesting week, not just Bitcoin that's broken out. We think the likes of the US 100 is going to see a major move to the upside. Also, the S&P, we likely have a target now to see it's reached 6,242. This is now broken out. Even the likes of silver broken out. Get ready for a great time in the markets, guys. And we spoke at the start a little bit about kind of macro cycles that are all overlaying. So this was more of a news-based update in regards to banks going or betting big on crypto or essentially entering the space. It's all setting up with technically how the space is aligned and fundamentally what's going on in a macroeconomic environment, isn't it? And the altcoin market, we did say when Bitcoin sort of comes out of this channel, that's when your Bitcoin dominance is going to roll and your altcoins are going to start to fly and really overperform. We're already starting to see that. The likes of Fetch, many others out there that we hold. We're looking to do very well. And if you guys do want to become a patron, we've got coins that we genuinely think are going to 100x that nobody talks about. We've also got crypto stocks. So do get on board with that. We've got a meeting with the patrons tonight. That's it from me, ladies and gentlemen. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you. Have a smashing Sunday. And I'll see you all in the next one.